Welcome to the introduction for the Developers Integration Lab Rules Engine. The power of the Developers Integration Lab, or as we call it, the DIL, lies in its ability to enforce testing to a desired specification or standard. Whether testing a message for adherence to a particular SAML version or HL7 adopted standard, the DIL allows us to turn rules into testable entities. The Rules Engine drives real-time inspection or replacement of individual message elements and provides immediate and detailed feedback to the participant. Let's begin with some information about how a rule is defined within the DIL. A filter template is what we call the XML or XSLT validation or XSLT transformation that is executed on a test case. If it is a validation filter template, we say it's a rule. If it is a transformation filter template, we call it a transformer. There is a single UI screen in the DIL administration module that allows us to create a filter template as either a rule or a transformer. Once set, that designation drives how the filter template behaves when applied to a test case. Here is where we define whether the filter template applies to an initiator request message or a responder's responding message. We can also choose which kind of messages it is valid for. Some transformers or rules can be applied to many types of messages. The system allows us to choose all the message types that apply for this particular rule. As mentioned, the filter template used by the Rules Engine can be a validation rule or a transformer. A transformer comes in handy when a particular part of a message needs to be altered for specific testing. An example for use of a transformer might be a bad actor test case where a simulated infiltration is meant to be detected, or a specifically incorrect or out-of-date message needs to be sent and ensure that it is also handled correctly. This particular example is a transformation that inserts a comment into the issuer area of the security header. The test system sending the request to the participant doesn't need to be recoded to send a particular message. Instead, we intercept and alter the message with a transformer, allowing for a faster implementation of non-standard test cases. A typical test case using a transformation might alter the outbound message from the DIL, and then a rule or set of rules would be put in place to evaluate the participant's response and ensure it is compliant to the test case. Filter template rules interrogate individual elements or attributes for test case compliance. Rules can be made specific to participants or test beds using these filter parameters. A parameter is a variable that can be utilized by a rule at execution time. For example, if a rule is verifying that a particular author person is to be returned, we can create a generic rule with a template parameter and then set the parameter to the right author person for that particular test case. This allows us to reuse the same filter template across many test cases. When we see this associated to a live test case, we will see the variable slot and the ability to enter different author person values. Filters may have multiple parameters defined as a group, which allows for the testing of several related elements at the same time. The group has a relationship in that all of the variables within the group act as a single unit. In this example, we have an expected creation time from and an expected creation time to. Both of the values for this group must pass the rule for the entire rule to pass on the test case. Since these are parameters, different test cases can have different values depending on the test data defined. Before they can be added to a test case, filters must be added to a filter set. A filter set can have just a single filter, but is more often a collection of related filters. The relationship depends on what they might be used for in a test. As an example, if we have a set of filters that checks components of a SAML header, we could organize them into a single filter set. As we noted earlier when looking at how to build a filter template rule, we saw that there could be variable values or filter parameters defined as part of the rule. In this example, we come back to the expected author person variable from our author person rule example. Here are the two author person names that are being looked for in this instance of the rule on this particular test case. If we associated this rule to a different test case, we would customize the filter parameter to the test data specific to that test case. That allows the same rule to be utilized on many test cases, yet have unique values. Another tool we have on the DIL for making test case rules flexible is the use of placeholders. This particular example is participant patient ID. This placeholder goes out and queries the DIL database that houses the patient mapping for each participant. It matches the patient ID associated to this particular participant, making the rule custom to the participant who runs the test case. Additional examples may be doc IDs or home community IDs. Here we show the filter sets and the child filter templates associated to a test case. Selecting or unselecting the filter template allows it to execute or not execute when the test case is run. A filter set as an entirety may also be selected or unselected. As you can see, many different filter templates can run on a particular test case, allowing a single instance of the test case to issue many different tests and many different test outcomes. Participants get immediate feedback on their testing results from the dynamic messages produced by the rules when they execute. Those messages can indicate a pass, a warning, which is also still considered a pass, a failure, or issue a manual review, all with specific output text as defined in the rule when it's built. Here is an example of a passing test case with many individual rules that were run and the output generated. To see the entire output message, simply click on the output button, and a pop-up window will display the entire test rule outcome. By allowing many rules to execute on a single test case, participants can get a comprehensive listing of all of the issues associated with their tests in that one execution. Here is an example of a test with a failure. The output messages can be quite detailed. This example, down here, actually points back to the specification to assist the development team as they amend their system. If a particular rule generates more than one message or a very long output, the tester clicks on the output link, as I've done, to bring up this pop-up window with the entire rule output in it. Here is also an example of our manual review indicator, which tells the testing body to do a review of this particular output. We hope you have enjoyed learning more about the DIL Rules Engine and the filter templates it utilizes to bring the test cases to life. For additional information or a demonstration, please contact us. Or you may go out to DIL.AEGIS.net to find out a little bit more about the DIL on your own. Thank you.